Good morning, Norma Cowie here for Wednesday's Metaphysical Talk. And today I'm going to be talking about forgiveness in relation to abundance. In 2002, I put together a small booklet called Spiritual Principles of Wealth. And when I got thinking about forgiveness, actually, it was a conversation I'd been having with someone, I thought of the book. And so I'm going to read some, talk some in relation to my little booklet. So it starts off section 1, spiritual principles. The following 4 principles are ones that create wealth. Forgiveness is number 1. Goal setting is number 2. Tithing is number 3. And divine purpose is number 4. Now, before I go any further with this, as most of you who watch the show, my little God box here that has like mega cards, I took it and I thought, I wonder if I knew there probably was something in there about forgiveness. But anyway, this is the miracle to me. I dug down into the box, pulled the card out, and guess what? It says this: forgiveness occurs when I let go of my attitudes and judgments and am willing to perceive through the eyes and the heart of God. Now, remember, this is basically a God-driven book, which is fine. And on the other side, it says, just for today, I will notice all the beauty surrounding me. But I just thought that was incredibly that I'm thinking this, and I do find a card that is about forgiveness. And it is true about judgment and things like that, for sure. So I'm going to read a little bit because it's easier than me trying to pull out this, that, and the other. So I open this up with, excuse my voice, and I don't have any water here with me. Forgiveness. When you are not in a state of forgiveness, you will have blocks. The unforgiven resentments, guilt, and unreleased emotions create far more restriction in your life than you are aware. These blocks will be stopping your natural flow of wealth. You need to be clear of blocks to receive your bounty, your good. God loves you. You deserve to have. But if you are blocking the flow, you will not receive your divine inheritance. Your divine inheritance is anything you want to receive. I think I've got to arrange it. You can have. To be clear to receive, your heart needs to be open. You need to be able to feel worthy of receiving. And this is where forgiveness is important, especially of self. All the guilt and regrets you hold onto will block you from receiving. I have said this before on one of the shows somewhere along the line, and that for 6 months, not that long ago, I'm just looking at this tuft of my hair that's sticking up. My haircut's not working well this time. Anyway, I was having some complications around some dollars and things. Anyway, so I just used to say every night or every day sometime, I forgive myself for anything and everything I have done throughout time. I forgive myself. Now, it's not like I just say that like on top of everything, but it's like I feel inside myself the connection to the light, to the love, to the essence. But 6 months. And then all of a sudden I didn't really feel I needed to do that. And everything began to turn around. Well, that was when I started doing that. That was when COVID began, and everything, my whole life changed because no classes, no clients, and that's when I got onto Zoom. That's when I began these. everything shifted. But I also worked on one of the principles. The other, as I said, goal setting and tithing. Now, in my little booklet, I have certain little things that you can do. One is the first one, exercise 1, in forgiveness river. So just imagine a river. Notice how it looks. Is it smooth and straight? Is it quiet and deep? Or does it have a waterfall? Note all the details and then look to see how many rocks you have in the river. The rocks depict the people, situations you need to forgive. You may have a few or a lot of rocks. Pick a rock. Ask it what it represents. Listen carefully to the answer. By asking the rocks what they represent, you can discover who and what you need to forgive. And then I have a little thing on still in the little box I have here. I have so many rocks in my river on the date, and the rock says I need to forgive whatever for whatever. Sometimes when we do these exercises, it's amazing the answers that come back in. I find I've had many surprises. Go, what? I still have to. I thought I'd forgiven that. But we can make a list of them. I'm just going to go through now. The second thing is goal setting. Now I talk a lot about goal setting. I shouldn't talk as like we, but it's me. Goal setting is important, and especially in the beginning of the new year, I'm usually talking quite strongly about it because it sets us up for the year of what we're wanting and what we're wanting to do. And one of the things is I kind of looked through the booklet here. By goal setting, you are telling God, this is what I want. I use the word God, but it means whatever you think of as the love force, the deity, whatever it is. But, I'm quite happy with the word God, but some people are not. By goal setting, you're telling God, this is what I want. This is what I want brought to me. So when you're making that, and very often what people I find is they don't decide that's what they want. Decision is a really big part of this. And it's an understanding. So when I look down, because I have some things in bold, when I was figuring out what let go and let God meant to me, I did not set goals and found I was ended in confusion. I came to understand letting go and letting God is setting my goals and then letting go of trying to figure out how to get them there. In other words, I have a goal, and then I would think about, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to work this? And the thing is, you set the goal, you let it go, and you wait to see what happens, because things begin to happen when you let go. And that's what that let go and let God meant to me, was to be able to create. So I teach the first step principle. I've got all these things and it's all in my little booklet here, is know your end result and ask yourself, what is the first step? So if you're setting a goal to achieve something, all you need to do is ask yourself, what's my first step? Because once you've done the first step, guess what? There's the next step, and that'll come to you. And so you just go through that. I've got another piece here that I've got to figure out what it says. I'll read the sentence. One of the most important aspects I found in creating is that you need to decide it is true for you. Now, there's this decisional element that's so important. I call it putting your desire, want, goal into a knowing place. When you know in your body, your gut, you are going to receive the goal, it is only a matter of time before it arrives. Therefore, when you have written out your goals, go over them. Check inside yourself to ensure You have decided your goal is definitely going to be in your future. Does it feel real to you? And it talks about some of the workshops that I've done around goal setting and things. But the element is that we often want something, but we don't decide it's going to be number one. So what kind of goals can we have? And I've got a goal sheet here. Personal. What do you want for yourself personally? Relationship, holiday, weight loss, career or work, promotion in a new job, a higher salary. Like what do you want relating to your work? Then in the material world, do you want a new car, house, clothes? I'm just smiling because I was thinking it was time to go buy some new clothes. That's interesting. Spiritual. You need spiritual goals as well. Patience, feeling more connected, meditation, whatever that fits for you. So then I've got all these little things where you can fill out because what are your 3 top goals and how to find them and how to get them to be working. Now, the next goal, the next aspect to forgiveness is to me supremo number 1. If you're carrying, as this little card says, if you're carrying any attitudes or judgments to anybody else, maybe even yourself, that's going to block your prosperity or your wealth coming to you, for sure. So that's why number 1 is always about forgiveness. Now, the next thing is tithing. I had to learn a lot. Tithing, everyone, giving 10%. And I took a long time to figure out exactly how that worked. And this is what I wrote. Tithing was the hardest principle for me to understand. I have since discovered most people do not understand tithing. I have come to believe it is a way of the future. It is an important spiritual principle, one which most of us overlook. Tithing is described as giving 10% of your gross to your spiritual feeding place. Tithing creates a feeling of gratitude within. It is an integral part of knowing God is my source. And then one of the things was I went down to into Alabama actually for the Master's Prosperity Teaching Program put on with Edwin Gaines. And what they did was send out a book and give you the title that you had 7 minutes to speak about. And I was going because I wanted to understand tithing more. And guess what? I had to speak on tithing. So I had to read up quite a bit before I did my 7-minute presentation. But it really helped clarify a lot of the things that I had been trying to figure out. Because the one thing, when you kind of move into ministry or understanding, you're going to understand some of the principles that go on and how they work and how they come on. And one of the things I read, some of the books I read was Prosperity by Charles Fenimore, Open Your Mind to Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. She has a lot of books on monies and everything. Well, I wrote here, the major lesson I learned is tithing is acknowledging God on the physical plane. Now, some people think it's like giving to your spiritual source, like your church, your whatever, your teacher, spiritual teacher or whatever. I found it's bigger than that. I found it's wherever you see God working in the physical plane. So that could be a person on the street who needs, $20, or it can be a lot of different things, but it's not that you just give it. It's that you inside give thanks and acknowledge God in action, because we're all connected to that source, whether we're utilizing it, whether we understand it or whatever. But it's for you to be in attunement to the giving, to make space for you to receive. I think there's another thing I highlighted. When you tithe to your spiritual source, I think I might have said this, you are acknowledging God in action. You acknowledge God is your source. When you tithe, you say, I see you, God. Here, I acknowledge you are present. And secondly, I write this here too. As I ties to my spiritual source, I became more in touch with the feeling of gratitude. I feel joy when I move into gratitude. I know God is my source. I give thanks. I am grateful to see God at work around me. Look around, note where you see God in action in your life, where you are being fed. So important. So important. Oh, then I go on to little things that you can, exercises that you can do, even to the point I've written here. What percentage are you willing to tithe? They say it's 10%, but you've got to work within where your means are, and 10% sometimes is just too much. So it's the action, it's the heart, it's that you give in some ways more than the amount. If you can have the 10% to give, you do that. Sometimes I get a little off tithing. Then I go, remember, things all of a sudden balk, and I went, oh, I'm not feeding you. We've got to put it out to get it back in. The next thing is divine purpose. Divine person. Divine person. Right, Norma Cowie, you're just doing an excellent job here this morning. Divine purpose is the reason we are here on earth. We all have a divine purpose. All aspect of divine purpose is to have fun. If it's not fun to you, then you may need to ask yourself, why are you doing it? So if you're not enjoying what you're doing, why are you doing it? And you're going to, a lot of people will say, well, because I've got to work, I've got to make money, I've got to do this, that. But it's like the attitude doesn't really bring joy, does it? Often we place ourselves in pain, believing this is all there is. This is not so. It's so funny when you read something you've read a while and you haven't reread it for a while. God's world is a joyful, loving place, a place where you need to be aware, a place where you have fun and rejoice in being alive. And then we kind of move on to divine purpose. Often you will come to recognize your divine purpose because you absolutely love doing one thing. For instance, I love to talk. No kidding. In particular, I love to teach. This is my divine purpose. Teach the spiritual laws in a practical way. When I have done a talk, a workshop, or just engage in scintillating conversation, I come away feeling great. I have been in my divine purpose. So you can watch, what do you love to do? It may be to paint, draw, write, or think. It could be 100 different things. But whatever it is that has you feeling great is your divine purpose. And often people think the divine purpose is, I've got to make money to live it. And I understand money quite well, actually. But divine purpose is doing what your heart loves to do. And even if it doesn't bring money, brings satisfaction, will drift out into your life. And there's lots of ways you can learn about how to create what your divine purpose is. And this is the exercise I have for divine purpose. List 3 qualities you like about your personality. List 3 activities you like doing. And then write a short paragraph on how you would like to see your world. And complete the following by being A, which read what, and then you read what you wrote. As I do B, I will create C. So let me just read, it's over the page, wait a minute. when you three qualities you like about your personality, like in other words, what activities that you want to do. So how does that read? By being your personality, as you do what you like to do, you will create and you'll read what you want to create. Little things makes a big difference when you're trying to figure out your place in the world, when you're wanting more abundance, when it seems like everybody else is getting something and it's missing you. It's by shifting how you think. It's by letting go, as this little card says, the attitude and judgments, and willing to perceive them through the eyes and the heart of God. In other words, your higher being. Now, after all those thoughts, what I also wrote is something I created was an abundant creation triangle. You got three, in a triangle, you have three parts. On the top part is allowing 100%. On the left side, deserving 100%. On the right side, because we're making a triangle, is receiving joyously 100%. So then you've got to ask yourself, how much am I allowing? How much am I deserving? How much am I receiving joyously? And then you created, I'm going to see if you can see, I don't, it's just a little diagram here. What you do is you from the middle point here, you go out and you mark the percentage where you fit. Then when you join all the lines together, you get a really good viewpoint of how willing and how abundant you actually are creating. I haven't done that for a long time. That might be fun to do now again. So thank you for my thoughts on forgiveness. This all began with forgiveness. But it's like it is so important to be able to do those little exercises. It's just amazing. Okay, I'm just going to give you a couple more. I'm just looking at the time. Wealth receiving river. I used rivers a lot when I was creating these. Okay, imagine a river, not the forgiveness river. This is another one. As you imagine this river, imagine you are a rock in the river. Notice how big you are. Notice what you're allowing the river to bring to you. Note how it feels there to be there in the river, allowing the river to bring to you what you want. It feels, put it in, to allow the river to bring me what I want. Sometimes people feel really big, but there's no way the water can bring that much in. One of the best response I ever had was one of my friends, who's also a student, said to me, you know, I had this big porous rock and the water ran through it all. And this is a gal that she has always been so up, so beautiful. She's just a sparkle of light, always. No matter when her world's crashing, you wouldn't know it. But the understanding what you're willing to receive is huge. And a little visualization like this, it clarifies a lot. Yeah, we can talk about, which is really important, the different aspects. But to know we can give ourselves all these answers when we look for them. And at the very part of that section, I go on to money management in the second part of this book, but this is a connection exercise. So I'm going to treat it like a meditation to you. Close your eyes and look around with your inner eye or your imagination for a light. It can be close or far away, and it can be of any color. It can be inside you or outside you. When you find it, bring it closer with your breath. allowing it to come all around you, and you will begin to feel it. What you may feel is a warmth that contains love, peace, acceptance. If these feelings are not there, then look around for another light. Bring that in and let it integrate with the previous light you found. Some people will need to bring in and integrate several lights before the feeling of love, peace, and acceptance are present. When the feeling of love, peace, and acceptance is present, fill yourself up. You deserve to have this feeling. It is yours. It is you. Allow it to fill you. You may discover you have blocks in your body that will not accept this light. This will be where you are holding onto emotions, pain, hurt, guilt, or fear. By taking your mind into the blocks, you can discover what they are about before you let them go into the light. You can release your blocks into the light. Slowly bring the light inside and release the blocked energy into the light. As the light takes the blocked energy into itself, it will transform the blocked energy into loving energy, and slowly the block is released and the new loving energy will replace it, just like a flashlight absorbs the dark. As each block is released, you become more of your source light, more connected, more of who you truly are. That particular exercise is great to use with forgiveness. You will fill yourself with the light and forgive for whatever it is. Then you can see the person you need to forgive in their light. You can then easily let go of whatever you have been holding onto. It's really easy to move into a place of forgiveness of self and others when you are working with source love, light energy. By working with your levels of allowing, receiving joyously, and deserving, you will soon see big changes in your wealth, abundance, and prosperity levels. Wow, there's lots in here that I haven't talked about, but I'm from work to give you the basis. I know I had to work through so much myself for so long. I know one of the stories I do talk about in here is that one time when I was producing the Psychic ESP fairs, I had this, I'll always remember this. I was in the truck and I'm downtown Vancouver and it's hot. And I had these kind of final things to do. And it seemed like, I don't know, I was feeling a bit stuck money-wise. And I sort of said to myself, what's blocking this? So I did my rock thing and figured out, like, what's the river bringing? What's blocking the river of prosperity here? And I got that it was my ex-husband. And so I just began talking. I forgive you. And I didn't know I was carrying any animosity at that time about anything. And man, the list kept going and going and going. And within, I don't know, I just know the money started rolling. But then and that does roll a lot of money. But everything changed. And sometimes we don't realize those little things that we're holding on to, and the little angers and frustrations, as it says in here, our attitudes and our judgments. It's so easy to judge another person. It's so easy, and yet it does not do our personal prosperity space any good at all. If anything, you just send them love or send them light, and then they'll do with it what they're going to do. Tithing, yeah, that took me a long time to get my head around that in some ways, but it was worth it. And I really, I don't I really work to understand that and give as much as I can when I can to wear, because, I'm older, and so it's different things. Anyway, COVID happened. I hate to say it, to sort of like lay blame on, but my life changed, as I know many, 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 many other people's lives changed at COVID. As I said in here, I like to talk. I like to, in particular, to teach. The story of my life was I wanted to be a teacher, and my father said, no, you have to go to work because you've got to be educated to be a teacher. Guess what? It's one reason I think I came to Canada, because I was able to go to educate myself right up to 2 years of college. Then life just opened up for me with opportunities and many, many other things. Your philosophy is what helps with your spirit, with your wealth. And you need to understand how the spiritual prosperity works with that. I really wish you all well. I want to say hello to Karen. Good morning. And Yvonne, nice to see you there again. And thank you. And I also want to apologize anyone's watching from Monday night when I did something with my mouse, and everything went crazy. And then we had a freeze happen again. And anyway, it was very stressful, to say the least. But I think I've got it pretty well covered. So I want you to have a good week. I want you to think about what I've talked about here and see if there's anything that you need to do. And if you're interested in getting a PDF copy of this little booklet, just go to my website, normacowie.com, and we can send you one. Have a great day. Have a great week. And just be happy and enjoy and love life. So I'm going to say bye for now.